A few years ago, I took some students to see an exhibition of the Dead Sea Scrolls. And at the museum where we saw it, I was able to pick up a replica of one of the jars that is like the jars that contain the scrolls when they were found. In the 1940s, some Bedouins stumbled across these jars in a cave. For as simple and humble and fragile as they were, the Bedouins had no idea how valuable the material was that was contained within them. In fact, scholars say that the Dead Sea Scrolls are the most important archaeological discovery of the 20th century, and these scrolls are priceless. I keep this on my desk to remind me of a few things. Reminds me of my humanness and my frailty, but it also reminds me of the fact that believers have something amazing and powerful within us in Jesus Christ. Paul talks about this in 2 Corinthians chapter 4 when he says, "We have this treasure in jars of clay to show that this all-surpassing power is from God and not from us." Paul was facing in his ministry criticism that he was weak. He would often get rejected. He'd go to a city and they would throw him out. They would beat him. He would leave town with scars. And in that time, things like that were marks of humiliation and shame. Paul probably learned a lesson throughout his ministry of the power of the gospel that is often hidden and discovered in and through weakness. Paul was able to articulate a powerful theology that's sometimes called the theology of the cross. You see, the cross was not just a place that Jesus happened to die. It's important that in the Roman world, the cross was the great symbol of shame. And Christians eventually came to embrace this symbol of the cross as the universal symbol of Christianity. And what that marks is not the failure of Jesus. That was how the world perceived it at the time. But it actually marks the humility, the braveness, and the power of Jesus. But it also expresses Jesus' utmost love for others. He went to the cross as an innocent man. When I talk about this with students, I refer to this as a model of benevolent ignominy. Ignominy means public disgrace or humiliation. Benevolent means the power to bring goodness and goodwill to others. What happens with the cross? The pattern that Jesus sets for a new kind of humanity is a pattern marked by benevolent ignominy. When we embrace the gospel, we don't just embrace what Jesus did that sends us to heaven, what Jesus did that fills a hole in our heart, but one of the most powerful things that Jesus does in his incarnation, in his ministry, in his crucifixion, is to show us a new path. And so even though we follow a path that will continue to give us this shame because we're willing to embrace the weak, we're willing to stand with the suffering, yet we live in hope.